Hey, how's it going, guys? Thank y'all so much for tuning into another video. Go ahead and click the like button so that I know that the information that you guys are receiving is good information. And it also helps out with the algorithm. It allows other people that are looking for similar information. It makes this video more visible to them. And also, go ahead and click the subscribe button so that you're notified of whenever I am posting another video, okay? Because of course, you love the information, you want to get more of this. All right, so and just to let you know as well, a lot of the information that I'm sharing in these videos, I also have it in more detail in my ebook, Wholesaling 101, Your First Steps. So if you have not received that book yet, go ahead and click the link below. And from there, it'll show the information on how to access the ebook, and it comes with a ton of free things as well to make your wholesaling journey a lot more effective. And there's a ton of value for what is being charged for the book. So I definitely appreciate you guys watching my videos thus far. And if you've missed any steps in the wholesaling process, go ahead and watch my videos from the beginning, and it'll walk you through the entire process. But we're pretty much at the last steps now of the wholesaling process. You've already cold call or text, you've already gone to the appointment, you've already had the inspections, you ran your numbers, everything is already good, and now all the documents are in the title company, okay? Now, with this is where a lot of people mess up, all right? A lot of people mess up at this point because once the documents are with the title company, they feel that everything is perfect, everything is done, and you don't have to follow up with anybody, you don't have to do anything, you feel like everything is done. But whenever you are beginning with wholesaling, you feel that professionals, people that are doing their job that are professionals, you feel like they are perfect. But what you have to understand is that professionals are humans as well. So things can fall through the cracks, things can happen. Even though there are policies and procedures in place for them not to mess up, sometimes they still do. So that's why once the property is under contract and you send it to the title company and everything else is done, you want to make sure that you monitor what is happening with the property that's under contract. You want to make sure you're following that along with the title company. So I want to go ahead and just run through my points here so you can understand what I'm talking about. So one, everyone assumes everything is perfect and nothing will go wrong. All right. You want to make sure that you're aware that things can happen. All right. Which leads me into the next step, which is you want to be proactive with getting the information. All right. So if there are any title issues or if there's any mortgages or liens or anything that's on the property, you want to know that ahead of time so that you can notify the title company, let them know like, hey, there's this lien, there's that lien. They have an AC that they just got that they're still making payments on. These are the liens that I know of. But of course, once they do their title search, they'll find some of those items. But if you let them know ahead of time what companies they are and what other payments are needed in order for the seller to receive their funds, then that'll make the process a lot simpler. Let me explain why. If there is a lien on a property, so for example, there's an AC that was built and they're making payments on this AC, there'll be a lien on a property that says, all right, if you're gonna sell this house, okay, we need to get the remainder of our money up front, and then whatever's left over you get, right? Same thing with a pool. There's a lot of things that could cause a lien to be on a house, and of course, things like a mortgage, all right? You could sell a house, but of course, the money that you receive is after the mortgage receives their money, then you get what's left. So let me explain why this is really important, okay? If the seller, for example, has all these liens and realizes that, oh, I would be left with no money, or I'd have to come out an additional $20,000 just to make up with all these liens on there, then they may say, hey, I don't want to do this, right? Then you have to come up with a different solution, whether it's a subject to or whatever it is. But by knowing all the information, right? And of course, you would have done your research ahead of time, but there's times to where even if you've done all the work and you ask the seller the questions, they might not have known that there are some additional liens. So you want to make sure that you're on top of that and you're not finding that out a couple weeks or a day before closing. All right. So you want to make sure as they're doing their title search, you want to make sure that you're being proactive, let them know ahead of time what is available, But then of course that title company will then let you know, okay, yes, these are the only things that are an issue. Or they'll say, hey, we actually found a couple more things and this is where we're going to be left off at, right? So another thing, the seller may have said, as long as I walk away with $30,000, I'm good. So everything was based off of that $30,000 number, but now there's this additional lien that they didn't know about. So now they may say, hey, I needed 30, and according to this is going to make me leave with 17. So what can happen? You know, what negotiations are needed? So you can make some adjustment, but of course, you know, with the amount of assignment fees that we get, sometimes we can't move all the way. But of course, let them know. Once you find out this information, you let them know, like, hey, just let you know there was a lien for the pool that you guys installed, and that was X amount of thousand. So because of that, what you are gonna now receive is not this amount, it's now this amount. I just wanted you to know, okay? Did you know about the pool? Did you know that there was a lien? Okay, yeah, you know there is a lien. It can go different ways. Some sellers will say, you know what? Can you come up a little bit so I can make sure I make a buffer? Or some other folks will be like, wait, what? If it's 17, then whatever, I'll lose it. So like they'll freak out, or some people will be like, you know what? It is what it is. I understand. I just forgot about the pool, right? Or they'll say stop, whatever it is. So you want to make sure that you let them know that information as well. All right, so also another thing that will happen with the title company, as far as documents, sometimes the end buyer will request a seller disclosure form. All right, now you could include this into your normal procedures of having this form. Not all buyers require this, but a lot of them do. Most of them do. So you can look up seller disclosure forms that's specific to your state or city. And from there, it's just a matter of just them filling out, okay, what do I know is wrong with this house? Okay, so there are certain things that you may not know is wrong with the house by just looking, but because the person lives there, they know about there's a leak that's in the sprinkler system in the front. You won't see it, but once the water's turned on, it starts leaking. Or there's a problem with the water heater. Yes, you may have run tests, but it may run out after about a minute or so. So just different things like that they'll know, they'll fill it out. And once you provide that to the end buyer as well, they would then realize like, okay, boom, 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 okay, this is still within line of what I thought. Or they'll say, oh, I didn't know that this was an issue. I may have a problem with this because there's no way of knowing. So the seller disclosure would just paint them a picture of the things that they know is wrong and making sure that it matches with what's going on. Now, something else that you want to emphasize as well is they've already given their non-refundable, right? So with that information, if you could maybe budge a little bit on some things that you both may have missed, but if it's a situation to where it's like, oh wait, what? This is going on? Like that's going to cost me an additional $3,000 repair, so drop it by $20,000. It's like, no. So how important is this $5,000 to you, basically? Of course, you're not saying that, but it's you were able to do your due diligence. So, I can't really move. I'm one of those wholesalers that if it's within reason, I'll make some adjustments, but for the most part, there's a lot of ridiculous buyers, okay? And they feel like they have you by, they got you in a hold, and they would have leverage in certain situations. That's why you want to make sure that though you may have 30 days to close, try to get it done within about 2 weeks or so or less. So that way, if they start acting up, then you got enough time to go to another buyer. You want to make sure you're doing that because buyers will act real funny. When they feel like they have some leverage, it's like, don't allow them to have leverage. Cut up the time. Make sure that if they cannot close by this date, it's fine. You just lost $5,000. I've made an additional $5,000, and I'll go to somebody else that's a little bit more reasonable. So make sure that you're aware of that. Next, they're gonna possibly ask for a survey. So a survey pretty much shows the boundary of the property and different improvements that's there. So if there's like sheds, it shows the house, it'll show a fence, it'll show the boundaries of what is on that property. And you can speak to your title company on how to specifically order that survey. Now, the end buyer, if they want it, then they would pay for that survey. All right. And so that's something that's written into the paperwork that I give you, pretty much explaining they're responsible for all these closing costs. And if there's any additional items that are needed, then they have to be responsible for paying for that. All right, next. So now we're getting close. We found out all the liens. We found out everything. Now we're going to get a HUD form. All right. Now the HUD document basically breaks down all the numbers. All right. This is how much you offered to pay, and then minus boom, 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 this fee, that fee, this lien, that lien, boom, boom, boom. This is what they're going to end up with. So that number at the bottom of that form, okay, this is what they're going to see as, okay, this is what I will get. Once this is done, this is the amount that I'll get. You would share that with the seller. Like, hey, here's a HUD form. Here's a document. It shows this is what you're going to get. Just want to let you know that this is what it is. They're like, okay, cool. All right. Or if there's any errors, you want to make sure that that's recorded. All right. Then it's going to be a separate form that's going to show another HUD form that says, all right, this is what you are buying the property for. This is your assignment fee. All right. And these are the other charges associated with the closing costs for that end buyer. Now, this is another spot to where buyers act funny. When they see that you're making money, they're like, whoa, you're making $10,000? Wait, hold on. What's today? Tuesday? Yeah, I don't like paying money on Tuesdays. So I'm like, they'll make up any excuse. Like, oh, wait, what type of shingle was that again? Oh, yeah, I didn't know about that. So that's going to get it done in a couple weeks. If they act funny, congratulations, you made an extra $5,000. If they want to act funny, that is fine. But just let them know that you had your time to do your due diligence. This is where it's at. So if this is going to be a problem, you could choose not to close. But by choosing not to close, all right, you are now going to lose your deposit. So what do you want to do? You got to let them know. I've been in several situations, and now I've learned from those several times, to where you cannot let these buyers have leverage because they will play you. All right. If they see that you're making money, they want wholesalers to not make anything. They want you to make like a couple $100. It's like, all right, well, a couple hundred. All right, cool. I'm cool with that. 10,000. And I usually see once you reach over that 10,000 point, like I'm talking about like 11,000 or more, they got excuses. Oh yeah, I didn't know. Wait, closing costs? I didn't know about. I told you closing costs. Oh, I didn't know. So what we gonna do about the closing? So it is what it is, man. So just be aware of that. All right, I kind of went off on a tangent there, but just be aware that they will play you. All right, so in that HUD form, they'll see that total amount that they're responsible for to close. You share that with the sellers, but of course you're verifying the numbers, making sure that it makes sense before you go out there. All right, make sure your assignment fee is correct. Because sometimes, again, everybody's human. The title company may make a mistake. You're supposed to make 10,000, but they wrote 5,000 for whatever reason. All right, you look at up. Actually, right here it shows 5,000. It's supposed to be 10,000. You say, oh, yep, I see the contract. You know what? My bad. Let me make that adjustment. Make sure you look over it. Don't just receive that form and say, yep, it looks good. Look at the form. Make sure it makes sense. Make sure the numbers make sense. Is that the right purchase amount that you had? Is that the right assignment fee? Is that the correct fee that you charge? Make sure that the purchase price and that assignment fee, make sure everything makes sense on that document. I'm staying on this because you could miss out on some money because of you being lazy and not looking over the form. Look it over. All right. So once you send those over to the seller and the end buyer, they'll verify, okay, looks good. They'll turn it back, or they'll at least verbally let you know that, hey, it looks good. And they'll be in communication with the title company, and the title company will verify that both parties understand that the numbers look good. Now, you're getting ready to close. All right, now, throughout this time, you're checking in with all parties involved. I'll say a couple of times in a week, just making sure that everything is still smooth. Check with the title company, you check in with the seller, you check with the end buyer. You're just making sure that there's no hiccups. Because if there is a hiccup, you want to be ready for it, okay? So you're just double check with everybody, just making sure that there's no questions from there. All right, And as you're checking in with them, let's just say there's an issue, okay? Let's just say that the title company says, looks like there's this lien that's needed with this pool company, and they're not giving us any information, so we're gonna have to use a third-party authorization form to have permission to get the total amount from them. So in the ebook, it comes with a third-party authorization form. All right, you take that form, you have the seller fill it out, okay? And you fill it out and you put the title company name in there as well, and you submit that to them, fax, email, whatever it is, which is gonna verify that you have permission to get the final payoff, all right? You would assume that it's easier to get some of these payoffs and they'll just like, oh, how much should we owe? Oh yeah, here you go. But of course, for the matter of protection and privacy, they wanna make sure that they're not just giving information to anybody. So that's why you need to have these forms so that they know that, okay, we have permission to give you this information, but of course they want their money. So that's what you'll need for that. So once all that's done, come closing day, you can choose to go there, or you can choose to have your check wired or have it mailed to you. Personally, I like to have checks mailed, all right? Maybe I'll get tired of it one day, but for the time being, I like to get the checks mailed because when I cash the checks, I don't get fees out, even though it's only like sometimes 12, 15 bucks, 20 bucks, whatever it is. I don't know. I don't want them to take money out just to get paid. So, and whenever they mail it to you, they mail it for free anyway. So it is what it is. So once they're closing, so closing day, the seller may choose to go there or have a notary come over and have them fill out documents. And same thing with the end buyer, they may choose to go in or whatever it is. But of course, you want to make sure that everybody understands when closing is and know the logistics of what's happening. The seller, are you going into the office or you want us to send a notary? End buyer, are you going in or you want us to send a notary? All right. The reason why that's important is because sometimes with the notary, once things are being notarized, that could add an extra day. All right. Even though the day of closing is this, sometimes it could add an extra day as far as money being swapped and you receiving yours, all right? So let's just say they're able to come in and do it that same day inside the office, great. If it's an additional day because of the notary, that's fine too. But once everything is funded, okay, and everything is in escrow and everything is with the title company, they will then let you know, hey, everything has been funded. How would you like to receive payment? I love those emails. How would you like to receive payment? It's like, mail me my check. I want to see the check. I want to see it on paper, right? It's one thing to just see it wired to your account, but it's like, give me that check. I want to see the numbers, all right? That's me. You may be like, why would I receive mail if I can get the money today? Sometimes, they'll overnight it and then you got to put it in your account. Sometimes, depending on if you're used to having a certain amount of your account, it'll be available a lot sooner. But if you're used to having lower balances in your account, as you deposit this $10,000 check and your balance is usually like a few hundred, they're gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna have to put a hold on this. You may get, $1,000 today or whatever it is of available balance, but it's gonna take a little longer to do that. Another note here as well, business accounts. So if you send them a check and you wanna cash it, they usually don't allow you to cash, or at least the banks I go to, they don't just allow you to give them a check and then you get the cash right away. And say you have to deposit the check into the account, and once the funds are available, then if you want to, you can take funds out, but you don't have to do all that. Yeah, and that's when you get paid. So once everything is funded, everybody gets their money. So the seller, they receive their money. The buyer, they've already sent theirs, so now they have ownership of the property. Call everybody and make sure they're good. Like, hey, how's it going? I just got a notification from the title company that you should have received your money. Did the wire hit yet? It's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, it's good. Okay, perfect. All right, so how was your experience with everything? Oh, everything was good. Okay, great. Well, we do have a website. We would greatly appreciate for you to give us a review on our service, and I'll go ahead and send you a link here. Sometimes they fill it out. Most of the time, they probably won't, but it would help you with just looking more credible to other people, right? But it's not necessary. It's just the extra thing that you would do. It's like a cherry on top, right? And then you'll call the end buyer like, hey, just let you know we received everything, you're good to go, and you're ready to roll, right? So something that the seller or the buyer may ask is, well, where are the keys? So once it closes, you can tell the seller to leave the keys in a mailbox, leave it under a mat, or you can put a lockbox on the property and say, hey, just leave it in a lockbox, whatever it is, but you want to make sure that end buyer has access to the keys, okay? And once it's all said and done, man, that's it. That's the whole transaction. You got your first deal. But something I really want to emphasize is that, yes, this is a lot of steps. Yes, it could take a long time to monitoring this and that, a lot of energy to do that, but something that you have to remember, okay? Just because you have a property that is with a title company now and you're working on getting it closed, do not stop marketing. It sounds simple, but I'm telling you right now, you do not want to stop marketing. Keep marketing. Don't allow this property that's about to close to take over all your time. Keep marketing, keep marching forward, and make sure you do whatever it takes for that deal to close. But of course, you gotta be working on the next one, and you gotta keep that pipeline full, all right? Always, always, always keep that pipeline full because it's not, I think Grant Cardone said this, is like, imagine basically a roll of napkins, like a napkin roll, paper towel roll. All right, and imagine stuffing it with cotton balls, right? So you're stuffing that thing with cotton balls, and those are your leads, right? And the deals that come out are the cotton balls that come up off the top, right? So you keep pumping it, cotton balls come off the top. All right, now, if you're not pumping with cotton balls, right, then guess what? The balls are falling out, right? And so by you focusing on the deal that is closing, cotton balls are falling off, and yes, you got this check, but when it comes to pumping that back up, now you got an empty roll, and now you got to pump it back up. So it's important that you stay pumping up that pipeline so that the cotton balls of deals will continue to flow out. So thank y'all so much for watching another video. And if you have been watching my videos from the beginning and you got to this point, go back and watch those other videos, because those are the steps, overviews of what you'll need to do in order to get that first deal. But I'll continue to post additional videos just to give tips on different things that we're working on, and different things as far as wholesaling, flipping, things of that nature. But for now, if you're strictly on wholesaling, it's important that you really watch those videos in its entirety. Share it with someone that needs this information, and subscribe to this channel so that you're notified of whenever I'm posting another video. And if there's any things that you would want me to discuss more into greater detail, go ahead and click that the subscription box below, description. My goodness, the description box below, and you can shoot me a text in that number that's there, or in the comment section, you can go ahead and let me know what topics you want me to discuss. So again, thank y'all so much for watching this video. Again, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and can't wait for y'all to get y'all first deal. Y'all take care.